Good morning, I'm Sapsanamma. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. Students of community schools likely to receive books on time for the next academic session. Distribution begins 3 weeks ahead. Quality of paper, however, in question. Chief Ministers of Sudur Pashchim, Gandaki and Karnali race against time to save their governments despite change in political equation at the centre. At least 4 dead in a 7.4 magnitude earthquake, the strongest in 25 years in Taiwan. 50 others reported injured. Rescue of those trapped in building rubbles underway. The 3-match one-day series between Nepal A and Ireland Wolves kicks off at TU Cricket Ground. Ireland Wolves batting first, having won the toss. School children in the rural part of Sudur Pashchim province, Bajura, normally receive their textbooks 1 month after the academic session began. However, this year, according to the local distributors of Janak Education Materials Centre, books have been sent 3 weeks ahead of the new session. The district has received 110,037 sets of textbooks for 51,242 students of 251 community schools of the district. 50 other districts have received the same. According to the Ministry of Education, there are around 4,645,000 students studying between the grades 1 to 10 across the country. This requires 25,900,000 books. The printing of books for grade 1 to 4 has been given to private sector, while those from grade 5 to 10 to Janak Education Material Centre. However, a question has now been raised regarding the paper quality of the textbooks, as most books wear out in the first few months itself. There have been instances where children have had to get new sets of textbooks because of the low quality. Meanwhile, the centre says it has followed the quality standards set by the government. The government has been spending 3 billion rupees every year for printing of books. However, the quality of the books has been compromised. The parents say the books' quality is not up to par. The list of problems of farmers in Nepal seems never ending. From lack of chemical fertilizers to climate change-induced drought, farmers are now having to deal with low-quality seeds that are not giving them the harvest that they worked for. Farmers in Bara, Parsa and Rohtahad this year could not harvest corn due to substandard seeds. Now they are worried of recovering their investments in fertilizer, seeds and the labor costs. For several years, majority farmers in these districts planted maize due to high productivity. However, this year they are left empty-handed. The state meanwhile has turned deaf ears. It may be recalled some 4 years ago, a similar scenario was reported from paddy farmers in Chitwan. Around 2,000 farmers lost 230 million rupees during that time. The government gave just 30 million rupees in compensation, and it also failed to take action against the sellers and distributors of low-quality seeds. A probe committee has been formed by the Madhesh and federal government this time around. However, the committee has attributed weather as the reason for the situation instead of taking action against those distributing and selling below par seeds. Similar problems have been reported by farmers who planted potatoes, cucumbers, among others. Nepal imports over 80% of seeds for various vegetables. At the lack of proper monitoring of standards, productivity has been declining. Meanwhile, the seeds developed by the Nepal Agriculture Research Council has failed to reach most of the farmers. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal issued a directive to break the nexus of individuals and organizations that evade taxes by using counterfeit bills and stickers. However, the implementation part has remained feeble. Instead, the operator of Siraha's Sharda distillery, who had been arrested over allegations of evading taxes, has been released on bail on the condition that he will present himself when called. Kantipur television had reported of the tax evasion on 17th of March, disclosing of the nexus with administration officials. On the 31st, Prime Minister Dahal issued a directive to break such nexus. The Premier also directed the Home Minister and Finance Minister for a fair investigation into the incident, which has been overlooked. Voices are being raised at the Parliament regarding the release of those arrested in tax evasion cases. The Inland Revenue Office, Siraha, released the operator of Sharda Distillery against 23,851,633 rupees bail. Meanwhile, several youths have reached the capital demanding for action against those allegedly involved in the tax evasion case. The Inland Revenue Department Kathmandu has been in a dilemma, and based on department source, it does not have data on tax evasion cases of the country. Department officials and the chief refuse for a comment. It is now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, why do you think the Prime Minister's directives on tax evasion not been implemented? Your options are A. Slack administration, B. Result of nexus, and C. Procedural delay. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. At least 4 people have been killed and 50 others injured as a powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Taiwan earlier this morning. Rescuers are pulling people from collapsed buildings. Seismology officials have said it is Taiwan's strongest earthquake in 25 years, with the last one occurring in 1999 that claimed the lives of 2,400. The earthquake initially set off tsunami warnings on the island and neighboring countries, some of which were later retracted. The epicenter is located about 18 kilometers south of Taiwan's Hualien city, according to U.S. Geological Survey. According to Taiwanese media outlets, police have rescued at least 9 people from a partially collapsed building in Hualien, and 5 people are still waiting for help. At least 29 have been killed and 1 injured in a fire at a nightclub in central Istanbul during daytime renovation work. The fire broke out on the ground floor of a 16-story building located in the residential Gedettepe district. An investigation into the incident was launched and arrest warrants were issued for 5 people, including the management of the club and the person responsible for the renovations. Around 20 fire trucks and ambulances were still crowded around the building. The nightclub was closed between 10th of March to 10th of April for repairs during Ramadan when the incident occurred. 6 primary school students were killed and 14 others were injured when a refrigerator truck veered into a group of children in the southern Iraqi city of Basra. The driver lost control after the truck's brakes failed and plowed into a group of students from a nearby primary school who were walking on the roadside in the town of Hartha on the northern outskirts of Basra. Director General of Basra Health Department, Abbas Al-Tamimi from Al-Faya Hospital, said that the wounded will be receiving treatment at different hospitals in Basra. Hospital sources said some of the wounded children are in critical condition with severe head injuries. Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammad Shia al-Sudani ordered an immediate investigation into the fatal accident. Iran has said it would take revenge on Israel for an airstrike that killed 2 of its generals and 5 military advisors at its embassy compound in Damascus, raising the risk of further escalation in the conflict in the Middle East. The strike marked one of the most significant attacks yet on Iranian interests in Syria, where Israel has stepped up a long-running military campaign against Iran and groups it backs as the Gaza war has rippled around the Middle East. Until now, Iran has avoided directly entering the fray while supporting allies' attacks on Israeli and U.S. targets. Israel has not claimed responsibility for the attack, which destroyed a consular building adjacent to the main embassy complex in the upscale Mezeh district on Monday night, killing 7 members of Iran's Revolutionary Guards. But a senior Israeli government official, speaking on condition of anonymity, said those hit had been behind many attacks on Israeli and American assets and had plans for additional attacks. The embassy was not a target, the official said. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has vowed for revenge. Security forces and police dispersed protesters who crowded outside the residence of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday in Jerusalem to protest his government and exemptions granted to ultra-Orthodox Jewish men from military service. Israeli media reported that 5 protesters were arrested for disruption of order. Thousands of protesters had demonstrated outside the Knesset earlier and marched carrying flares and Israeli flags to Netanyahu's residence in Jerusalem. Netanyahu's cabinet has faced widespread criticism over the security failure of the Hamas attack on southern Israel, in which 1,139 people were killed and more than 250 taken hostage to Gaza. A ruling party mayoral candidate was shot dead on Monday this week in central Mexico during an event on the first day of her campaign, despite having requested security protection from authorities and receiving no response. On Monday evening, Gisela Gayton had just presented her security strategy plan before a rally in Celaya, Guanajuato, when gunmen opened fire, killing her instantly. Guanajuato's state prosecutor said it was investigating the killing. No arrests have been made so far. Gayton, a 38-year-old former litigator, was the only female candidate in Celaya, one of the deadliest cities in the world and one of the most dangerous places to be a police officer in North America. Mexican elections have been marred by political violence for years, but figures suggest it is getting worse. A report by political risk consultancy Integralia found 24 aspiring electoral candidates were killed between 1st of September and 1st of April, while the government on Tuesday said 14 people who had been publicly stated they would run in elections had been assassinated since October last year. Portugal's central-right Prime Minister Luis Montenegro took office yesterday amid doubts his government can survive beyond this year as it faces the most fragmented parliament in 50 years of democracy. The Democratic Alliance AD coalition won the March 10 election by a slim margin over the incumbent Socialist Party PS. With just 80 seats in the 230-seat legislature, the AD will need the support of either the far-right Chega party, which quadrupled its parliamentary representation to 50 lawmakers, or the center-left PS, which secured 78 seats to pass legislation. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.